Well, we're back from seeing Spider-Man Far From Home. For the first part of this review, we're just going to talk about the things that we liked, but we'll give you plenty of warnings about spoilers. The spoilers will be in the second half, so we don't want to ruin it for anybody that hasn't seen it. So we'll warn you about spoilers, so then you could stop, you're watching. Um, Here's my friend Joe. I've mentioned him a couple of times, and here's Tosha. This dog is nuts. You're nuts.
It's 1 o'clock in the morning and she's wide awake.
Yeah, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. She's wide awake, but she's a good dog. She's good. She's gonna be twirling around a little bit.
Gosh.
So, get right to it.
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I mean, Joe asked me if I liked it more than Homecoming. I could see myself liking it more than Homecoming, but it's just like one of those things that sort of
Just saw it.
has to absorb in my mind and all that stuff. But I thought that the effects were good. That's to be expected. Like, what were some of the things, the takeaway things that you really enjoyed?
I liked all the actors. I think everyone did very well.
Yeah, yeah,
I liked they had some comedy,
yeah, yeah.
which was good.
Yeah, those moral, those films, they put it in nicely. They really blend it well with the story and a lot of the characters. They always seem like, in all Marvel movies, not just this one, they all seem like they have good rapport with one another. You watch a DC movie, it seems like they're just acting together. But when you watch one of these, it seems like they actually
Enjoy.
are the characters, the actors are enjoying it, and so forth.
Without telling parts, obviously,
Mm-hmm. Oh, we'll get to that. We'll get to that pretty soon.
I enjoyed the whole movie. I guess it was about an hour 50.
Yeah,
It didn't-
I was saying to you, it didn't seem like it was that long, but you made a good point about Endgame.
Yeah, we just saw Endgame, and Endgame's longer.
Endgame's like 3 hours, so we watched this. It's like about 2 hours, and we're like, geez, this was short.
No dragging parts,
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay, they're just filling time.
Yeah, no, I feel the same way. Another thing I liked about it, getting back to the characters, I really liked his friend Ned in this movie.
Yeah, he did give him more of a role.
he wasn't just like, okay, we got to find a part for Ned. No, they did a good job with him.
He had his own story.
Yeah, yeah, and it's a lot because I think a lot of times when you have movies like this where there's so many characters, okay, we got to find a part for this person. We got to find something meaningful for that person to do. It didn't seem forced. It didn't seem contrived. So when you go see this movie, all of the characters are interesting. I wouldn't say they're all super important because they're certainly not, but it doesn't seem like it's forced. It doesn't seem contrived. Anything disappointing for you when it comes to this movie?
Easy.
Well, how does this one stack up with Homecoming for you?
I do feel like I like this one better.
What do you think of Mysterio?
I like Mysterio. I think Jake Gyllenhaal did a really good job. He's not the teenage actor no more. It seemed like it's grown-up role.
Yeah, Joe doesn't read the comics. He's not into comics, so he doesn't really know too much about Mysterio.
What was its story, basically?
It's funny. You have comic book fans that were saying, "Oh my God, Mysterio's a good guy." No, he's the master of illusions.
Oh,
But I thought one of the criticisms about Mysterio for many years is that his look. One of the people would always say that he has a big fishbowl on his head. Well, I thought it looked good.
I think in the movie, that looked great.
He looked exactly the way he does in the comic, in the movie. So it's not like, well, they changed some things, but that look you saw is what you see in the comics. He looks almost exactly alike, with the cape, with the fishbowl, or whatever the hell that thing is. It's not a fishbowl.
Yeah, but basically.
But he, even with the eyes that were on him that attached the cape, he is one of the characters that looks almost exactly the way he does in the comics. Even the Vulture, they took liberties and all that stuff, because in the first one, Homecoming, the Vulture, they made Michael Keaton look really good. If you saw him in the original comic books, this is friggin' old man that looked like a vulture with the hair around the neck and stuff like that. I like the way they blended in the movies, but in this one, when it comes bringing it back to Far From Home, Mysterio, right on the money, and it worked really well. So I think it really lives up to the sequel to Homecoming.
Yeah, definitely. I think I like this one as of now. I like this one better, but they're definitely on par with each other.
You know, but before we get to the spoilers, and I'm just giving you a little warning because we're going to be getting the spoilers in a moment. The one thing about these Spider-Man movies, you have the Iron Man movies. There were 3 of them.
Mm-hmm.
Captain America, there were 3 of them. You watch those, and by the time you got to the 3rd one, or at least you felt that this series is over, right? With this one, Spider-Man, this thing could go on like forever, it seems like. There's just like so many more stories to tell. It doesn't seem like the next movie is going to be the last Spider-Man movie. It just seems like there's so many avenues they can go with this. So it's refreshing.
Yeah, like you said, Iron Man was done at 3. It was done at 2.
It was done at 2. Remember when I went to your apartment and when we watched that for the first time many years ago? I was like, what the fuck?
Like, we looked at each other and yeah, are you done? I said, yeah, now we're into it.
I was like, what's going on? Okay. All of a sudden, the second Iron Man, it was like they were trying to figure out who Mickey Rourke is going to be. Well, is he the Crimson Domino? Is he Whiplash? Who the hell is he supposed to be? But with this one, it seems like they have a great direction, and it's really, I think the future for Spider-Man is really, really good.
They could go, like you said, they could go many places.
There are a lot of other places. So now we're going to get into spoilers. So if you haven't seen the movie, you don't want to hear spoilers, stop watching. Okay. So what do you think the big spoiler we should talk about first? That Mysterio really isn't a good guy? Is that a spoiler?
Everyone knew that,
Well, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised, Joe.
I didn't know anything about the character, but I knew going in that he was
something's off.
He's the bad guy. Yeah. How he was going to do it.
Yeah, because then you didn't really think that these elemental things were supposed to be like the major villains.
Yeah, and he was defeated early, but
it's funny though. Like a lot of the comic book fans, elementals, they appeared in comics. A lot of people early on thought that some of these elementals were actual characters, like the water elemental, the Hydro Man. Remember the Sandman from number 3? Yeah. The sand elemental. Oh, this is the Sandman in the movie. No, it's the elementals. But I think a lot of the elementals were based off of Spider-Man villains, like the Sandman, like Hydro Man and Molten Man and all that stuff. So yes, big spoiler, Mysterio is the bad guy.
And big spoiler, Peter gets the girl.
Yeah. You believe that? He gets the girl in this. Another potential spoiler, I alluded to it earlier with Ned. I thought he was really good, how he struck up a relationship with Betty Brant. It was.
I know her as a girl on the TV show.
She also, I think Betty Brant made her first appearance along with the Sandman in Spider-Man 4. I'm sure I'll be corrected if I'm wrong, but I don't think I'm wrong. But I thought that was pretty cool. They had that relationship that lasted just for the movie.
Trip.
They went they were on the plane. They sat next to each other. They hated each other, but then they were boyfriend and girlfriend by the time the plane ride was over. They were smooching throughout the whole movie, and then when they go back home, we broke up.
Mutual.
Mutual, and they were. I thought that was pretty nice take. One of the big spoilers I think we'll talk about is the end credits now. I mean, okay.
I think that was probably the biggest one.
There were 2. The mid-credit scene and then the end credit, the last one. The mid-credit scene, you see J.K. Simmons playing J. Jonah Jameson. So it's the first time you see a character from the previous Spider-Man movies coming back to reprise a character. I think that was pretty big.
It's cool. It was like the website. It wasn't really newspaper. It was website. The guy behind us really liked that part.
Oh, we're going to get to him. Me and Joe were talking people were getting up and walking out of the theater for this, that, and the other reason. So they would have to walk behind us and kept hitting our chairs. And this is one of the things that I should have said earlier that I didn't like about the movie. It had nothing to do with the movie. It had everything to do with the experience. So our chairs kept getting hit.
Bad.
And Jesus, can't you walk straight? But then when we found out, why we were probably getting hit is because the guy behind us was 400 pounds. They couldn't get around him. But I digress. Tying into the mid-credit scene.
He went out to a great bad way.
Yes. He revealed to everybody in the world, J. Jonah Jameson got the clip of Mysterio's death, and it was faked that Spider-Man killed him. Mysterio revealed to everybody that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, and that's where...
And said that Peter Parker killed him.
And all that stuff. And of course, J. Jonah Jameson believed him because he doesn't trust Spider-Man. So that's like the big spoiler. The last spoiler, what did you think of that one? Because you had no idea what that was.
I didn't know what I knew that was. I just saw Samuel Jackson turn into a goblin. Like, well, is he a goblin the whole time? But then he showed...
No, what Joe is alluding to is, in this movie in particular, throughout the whole movie, Nick Fury and... What's that chick's name? Hill? Her last name's Hill?
Yeah.
It turns out that they were Skrulls, Talos from Captain Marvel. They were impersonating Nick Fury and his agent at his request because they were on vacation, but it just so happened that, while they were on vacation, Mysterio attacked. So that was like supposed
to... They're from Captain Marvel?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't see.
Yeah, Captain Marvel, it's hard to explain here, but the Skrulls are an alien race that could shape the shape. They could shapeshift.
But they weren't bad, or...
Technically, yeah, they are bad in the comics, but in the movies they were portrayed as not being bad, so they're going that route. But they were impersonating Nick Fury and
after the long credits.
After the long credits, but it really didn't really. I don't think it really added to this as the mid-credit scene did with J. Jonah Jameson.
Set you up for what's to come.
It didn't set up for what the next villain's going to be, though. I mean, J. Jonah Jameson as though he's never liked Spider-Man, but it didn't really hint at what the next villain's going to be. Whether it's Kraven the Hunter or the Green Goblin. I originally thought that they were going to be bringing in the Green Goblin. There might have been a hint, but I was wrong.
Same thing on Homecoming. They didn't tell you the next villain.
Yeah, it's too far off. You're probably not going to see another one of these villains, another one of these movies, until a year after you see Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which is sometime from now.
I could see that be the last one for Guardians.
Yeah, as we were talking about earlier, how Iron Man 1 through 3. Any other spoiler that we didn't talk about? We talked about Mysterio dies. JJ, the mid-credit scene, the end-credit scene.
They had that relationship with Aunt May and...
Oh yeah, Happy Hogan.
Just a side thing.
Little side thing. The elementals are all fake. Oh, one big thing. When you saw in the trailer that Mysterio talked about a multiverse. Yeah. And in the movie, he mentions that this is Earth 616, and he comes from Earth.
I like that part.
But is it bullshit now? Because it was revealed that Mysterio, Quentin Beck, was working for Tony Stark, and you saw clips of him working for Tony Stark, creating that hollow stuff that Tony was doing. So he really isn't from another Earth.
No,
he's from
trick people.
So is the concept of the multiverse out the window now? Because a lot of people
went crazy with the multiverse.
People were specking like, okay, that's how they're going to introduce the Fantastic Four. That's how they're going to introduce the X-Men. Well, I don't think so now.
But
it's
the
bullshit.
version of Mysterio's is bullshit. Maybe they go.
I don't know.
But I liked how he said it and Spider-Man's like multiverse. Then it was all. Yeah, I like that scene when he gave him the glasses.
Yes, Tony's glasses.
Like, okay. Yes. He's like, okay. And everyone started cheering, and then you see his backstory and all.
Yeah, Joe's talking about, Peter. Tony gave him those glasses that he wore, control all sorts of Stark technology. He felt that he wasn't good enough for it, so he gave it to Mysterio, not knowing that Mysterio was a bad guy.
That's his whole plan.
That was his whole plan, to get control over those glasses, because he would be able to control a lot of other things that Stark controlled, like weapons and all that stuff. So that was, like you were saying, that was his plan all along. But in all, I think it was pretty good. Would you see this movie again? Would you go see this again?
Back in the day, I would definitely see it again.
Yeah.
Now it's being older, so trying to find time and with your free time, where you're going to see a movie you already saw.
Yeah, I wouldn't run out to see it again. Like you were saying, Redbox or on demand. Yeah, I'd sit through it again. I very rarely buy Blu-rays. Yeah,
I think that's done.
Yeah, I'll buy Avengers Endgame maybe, unless my friend burns me a copy, then I won't buy it.
Does Pat watch this?
He does.
So-
And I've been asking him, hey, do you have an Endgame thing? And he's like, no, not yet. But I'm sure he's sure he will get me one sooner or later. But I wouldn't go to the movies to see it again. I mean,
It's tough to find time, and you do have the time where you're going to see a movie that you already saw.
yeah. And like I
I
said,
don't mind this girl as MJ.
no,
I
I think she's
Kristen
good.
Dunst.
I thought she was good. I know a lot of people complained, oh, is that MJ? It's not the MJ. I mean, it's not the Mary Jane Watson that we know, but it is a version of
Her
Mary
name's
Jane
Mary
Watson. It's
Jane,
just a
right?
different, yeah.
Is her name? No, her name's not Mary Jane, is it?
I don't even know.
I think they gave.
I wasn't paying attention.
She had. I think in the first movie they called her something else. And at the end, the big thing is, no, my friends called me MJ.
Oh yeah, you're right.
I
You're
was
right.
like, oh my God.
It's fresh in your mind. That's why.
Yeah, I
It's
just
a
saw
good
it.
thing you watched Homecoming recently. But I don't. If that's what their intent is, that this is just a different version of MJ,
I'm fine with it.
I'm fine with it. I think it's fine.
They
I
don't
think
have
she's
to-
good.
They don't have to be the same thing over and over.
Yeah, because J. Jonah Jameson, he's bald.
Yeah.
And you know from the comic and from the movies, he has like a flat top. So they're doing a different version of him. So I have no problem with that. You know, whatever,
Yeah,
right?
And I like that they're not obviously going to do Peter Parker selling pictures of Spider-Man.
Not yet. You
But
never
if
know.
he's already said he is Spider-Man,
Well, you know, I'm pretty sure they're gonna try to find a way to disprove that he's Peter Parker.
but
Well-
I like the all.
Overall, pretty good. Well, thank you for tuning in. I recommend you go check out this movie, and
Definitely check it out.
I think you'll enjoy it. Take care. Good night.
Good night.